Belikin versus Sergio Ramos. I mean, I'll call this right it is. It's a classic Clash Royale matchup. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Best of 3 in our set number 2. The Brit and the Spaniard going head-to-head. Or, sorry, the Brit and the Mexican.
Yeah, this is like a Legends match. This is amazing. So, here we go. Belly and Sergio. Flashback.
Belly, of course, as we've talked about before, took some time off from CRL to finish school, but stayed active in CCS and in the Orange Crown lead as well. And Sergio Ramos, after winning the CCGS World Championship, kind of disappeared from the Western scene for a bit, but was over with Nova Esports and CRL China for a couple of seasons for the 2018 run, and then back here with SK Gaming as a part of this big powerhouse roster. And he's a guy who's just so calm and confident consistently. And that's been a big part of why he's been a part of rosters, even when he's not been as active comparative to the rest of his team.
And that was a really, really nice royal delivery from Belikin, recognizing that his opponent was most likely going to drop those Royal Hogs, however, still not able to mitigate a lot of the damage, and Sergio Ramos in a very, very nice lead. Magic Archer will get one more shot in. 800 damage in the lead is SK.
Double bait for Belly up against this fireball bait for Sergio Ramos. And so far up to the task, that Goblin Cage going to be a big part of the defense against the Skeleton Barrel as time goes on.
And if you're kind of scratching your head wondering, I swear, have I seen these guys this season? Well, you've seen Belikin once, but this is Sergio Ramos' season debut here in 2020.
Yeah, it's wild to think of how little you've seen both of these two guys play. Belikin was such a huge part of the Team Queso CRL EU Championship back in 2018, but so far, really, it's just been Diego Irai and the fantastic 1v1 play of Pedro that's really carried them, not to mention Diego E's big King of the Hill sweep to put them through into play.
So here we go. Royal Delivery going to be on top, coupled with that log, going to mitigate those hogs 100%. So Sergio Ramos going to maybe need to be a little bit quicker on the draw with that Heal Spirit if he wants to connect. But it's going to be very, very tough because you got to get that Heal Spirit to pop on something to heal those piggies.
So again, you see the Goblin Cage high to stop that Skeleton Barrel, but the run behind it is just too much. Dark Goblin gets on tower, tower down, St. Belikin now with the lead with only 25 seconds left.
And I love what Belikin did there. It was the log. He recognized on the last offensive sequence that he had that when Sergio Ramos played his cannon cart back behind the tower, his knight was able to connect. So what does he do? He sells out, logs again, makes sure nothing is going to be in the way, and he gets a clear path to the Princess Tower. Sergio Ramos, defending twice the same way, gets picked apart by St. Belikin.
So we do see Zappies make their debut after the recent buff. The second set of this quarterfinal.
One thing we haven't spoken of enough is that Sergio didn't really have a great matchup, obviously, right? He didn't have a way to clean up the barrel or the Skelly Barrel completely effectively. I believe it was Poison was his spell and then Heal Spirit, so...
Royal Giant aggressive from Belikin to open up, and you see Sergio Ramos maybe going back to the exact same thing this time. Fireball gets the Magic Archer off, and Belikin out to another good start.
Yeah, Skelly's going to mitigate this very, very well, and yeah, nice start for Belly indeed.
So this one will be interesting as time goes on, assuming that he's running the Fisherman Hunter version against the same Royal Hogs deck. You have so many fireball targets between the Zappies, the Magic Archer, and of course the Royal Hogs.
So King Tower activation not going to be in play on this sequence. Maybe we see a high split Royal Hogs, but that obviously will be very, very predictable. So here he goes, all in on the right-hand side. And great poison value here for Sergio Ramos.
What does he have for this Royal Giant? Behind a little bit on Elixir right now. Cage comes in high on this one, bats behind. This Royal Giant should do some significant damage in that left-hand lane.
And then the Heal Spirit last second bats behind. That is a massive, massive blow for Sergio Ramos to take and Belikin to deliver.
It's just going to be difficult for Sergio Ramos to win some of these bridge battles here. You know, you have the Cage delivery combination, but against Royal Giant, not quite as effective as others. We'll see what he sets up on. He's going to take a few more Royal Giant shots on that left-hand side, Andrew. So the question is, how can he create enough damage to make this thing a fire?
Also, when you look at the things, or the cards and the Skellies, the Heal Spirit, and the Bats, there's not a direct way to get those all off the board. So Belican can really kind of cycle those however he'd like, and then see how Sergio wants to respond. I mean, look how long those Bats are staying on the board.
This is what he needs, Andrew. He does have a healthy cannon cart, so now we'll see if Sergio goes opposite lane, and he does.
So Hunter plus Log, I'm sure, on the right-hand side. There's the Magic Archer to line things up and get a little bit of chip damage in.
And now you do have an Elixir lead for Sergio Ramos, so exactly what he needs to do is prevent too many shots from the Royal Giant, have a healthy cannon cart, get some good DPS on there, and create counter pushes.
Yeah, so here we go. High Goblin Cage to deal with this Royal Giant. Fireball comes in, opening up a space for, of course, the Royal Hogs. Royal Hogs, though, going to come down on the right behind the Zappies as opposed to in front.
And that's tower down on the left-hand side. 12 seconds left. Looks like it's going to be a clean 2-0 sweep for Belican here in our second set. Big win, great deck choices, and Cream now ties things up in set number 2.
Sergio just not able to no problem. Other side of it, maybe this is exactly what you're talking about, Rich, with Sergio Ramos leading things off, Javi in the middle spot, and Morton closing things out.
Let's go ahead and jump into game number 1, King of the Hill. Win, you stay on. Lose, you go back to the bench. Sergio Ramos and Wings kicking things off.
Yeah, and, you know, King of the Hill, it's weird. By Morton, so let's hope that one of their tour individuals or representatives can pick up a win today.
Wings comes into today 67% on King of the Hill with 5 King of the Hill sweeps in CRL play. Sergio Ramos and even at 59% with 2 sweeps over his career.
It's so crazy to think that that means that he was, you know, essentially 15-0 in King of the Hill against CRL pros. Like, you know, if you kind of look at it sporadically, it's just crazy to think. I'd be happy to take 1 game off of a pro.
Yeah, right? It's absolutely insane. So here we go. Sergio Ramos with the Barb Hut Muskie, so feeling like it's going to be going in that graveyard direction.
Yep. Bottom of your screen, maybe Ram Rider. There it is.
In delivery, Skeletons in response. Do they give up a hit? And they do. Shout out Night Owl to your favorite win condition.
Yeah, Ram Rider just always a nuisance, and definitely a card that I think is so cool that it hasn't really been changed too much, and it's never really fallen or dominated at the meta. Fallen out of or dominated.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of it at one point, but it was never really a deck where you were like, oh, well, there's nothing to do about it. It was just there a whole bunch.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It was just there because there was that, of course, the Stinky Cheese Jack for a while it just felt like it was impossible to do anything about. And that is a great recognition of knowing what is in and out of cycle. Lumberjack, Ram Rider straight on through. Sergio Ramos takes a big hit.
Yeah, low Barb Hut here. And look, we've seen this before from this deck. We've seen it today with RF doing it, going, okay, I'm going to sacrifice some damage early, but I know that this deck performs well later in the game. So goes behind early, does Sergio Ramos. The question is, as we get deeper in, can he stack Barb Huts and make this a living nightmare for Wings?
Yeah, that's really what he needs to do. He needs to turn things around in the sense of getting that elixir advantage in his favor. And you know, leaking elixir is not a great way to do it. But, you know, this Lumberjack plus push that runs into these Barb Huts, it's going to be really interesting to see how these kind of fare as the time goes on to double and triple elixir.
Is that Ram Rider still going to connect? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Way. A beautiful Heal Spirit in conjunction with that Rage, and I don't know how that happened.
I mean, that Ram Rider was stuck. You play a Barb Hut on a Ram Rider, and you have 2 Barb Huts down, a bunch of other barbs, maybe even a Mystic Spell to stop it. Who knows? But still, the Ram Rider, she just touches towers.
Yeah, and she got the charge up again, even to add just a little bit of insult to injury. And look at that lineup there. The Fireball pushes that Musketeer in range of the Knight. Who knows if that was planned or not, but it sure looked pretty.
Just trying to put some real heat on the opposite side is Sergio Ramos, but this Ram Rider is just maniacal in its surge towards that tower. Delivery high, trying to hold on here. Is there anything to stop this Ram Rider right now? She is raged up,
sir.
going right through Gigi.